Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Telling It Like It Is. My name is Jade Alberts, a founder of Peer Guidance. We are a purpose before profit group that helps small businesses, startups grow, scale. Sharing knowledge and stories is why I started Telling It Like It Is. It is live. If you have any questions, watching it on LinkedIn or YouTube, put it in there. We will hopefully answer them. And if you're watching this after and you want to put some questions in there, Brennan and I will answer them. I wanted to say right now, I am excited about the two partners that we have. Right now, I'm at the Unite the Prairies conference in Saskatoon, so you get to see my bed in the background at the Besborough. I'm excited about seeing a lot of the top startups in our ecosystem and meeting some people for the first time. And also Startup TNT, who our summit is live next Thursday, May 12th in Calgary, Edmonton, and Saskatoon. We'll have a viewing party in Regina. But, this was by design, so I'm just going to say it and get it out of the way. I know what day it is. It's May the 4th, but it's my-eforce be with you. And we have Brennan Lewis. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. I really appreciate you having me on today.
Oh, absolutely. It was almost a no-brainer when we were talking about having I know you had said like, oh, I don't know if I want to come on. I was like, oh, no, you got to come on and tell your story a little bit. And of course, May 4th made sense.
May the E4th, it was a no-brainer. With as you mentioned, kind of saying for the first time, I don't know.
Well, he went away for a little bit here, but in the end, we'll just keep on talking here. But I know Brennan has, his company is my-eforce. The website will be up in the website relatively soon here, or in the comments section. But the joys of having technology and trying to work, maybe out of a hotel and Brendan and things along those lines. But you know what? We still walk, we deal with it, and that's kind of life in general when you're working with with technology, and away you go. So hey, hopefully he's able to come back. If not, he'll just give me a dingle and we'll have a blue screen here and put up a photo and away we go. But that's kind of just the way, running a new business goes, running a startup goes. It's not like this. It's like a roller coaster all over the map. So it is what it is, right? Good old technology. But again, I went talk a little bit about Unite the Prairies here. Even last night I met quite a few new people for the first time, again, face to face. I'm excited about hearing a lot of these companies pitch. Excited about what's going on in our ecosystem throughout the prairies, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Alberta. And, once we get rolling here, is he coming back? No, maybe not. He might have to phone me. But, and obviously my-eforce is one of these companies. And, Brennan and I met probably about a year and a half ago, maybe a little longer. And I've watched what he's done with my-eforce and the way he's gone out there and moved it up and had his, here he's calling now. So we'll just jump on here. So I'm just kind of telling him a brief little thing about my-eforce. Brennan, you there?
I think so. I think I'm here now.
Hey, we're all good. I'm just going to slap a photo of you up here and then away we go. But yeah, I was telling him about the journey of my-eforce and how we met and we've been having a conversation for some time and we were able to reconnect here just before COVID and I really want to kind of dive into your story here. So, tell us how you came up with such a great business idea.
Yeah, so this whole thing for us really started a few years ago. I was out in Toronto working as a distribution manager for a few record labels out there. And, lo and behold, this thing actually all started from the music industry. So, one horrible week, we had a couple of our bands that we were working with out on tour down in the United States. And, we got that dreaded phone call, woke up this morning, van, gear, wallets, passport, clothes, everything stolen overnight. And so, this is a really big problem in music and in theft of all sorts of things. So yeah. The original idea was that we wanted to create some sort of GPS-enabled platform where a band could connect through the front door to any law enforcement agency in North America. If their gear was to get stolen, they'd be able to click a button connect location, proof of ownership, and all that good stuff. Well, it was with this vision for, we brought in a family friend of ours who is an RCMP police chief, and it was with his knowledge of the world, my vision of what we wanted, where we came up with a way to temporarily grant access to the information attached to a GPS receiver, its location as well, obviously.
Yeah.
But to temporarily grant access if there is an incident to law enforcement. Well, once we realized what we had, it was a very clear decision to shift to something that's a lot more important than band gear. Even though stolen guitars are still dear to my heart, human beings and human lives are a heck of a lot more important. And so, the whole thing really took off with looking into what there was out there and realizing that there was a massive hole within the lone worker personal safety space, where there was nothing that could connect seamlessly to law enforcement or first responders. And this was really the leap pad for where we decided to go into this market. So, the connection to this emergency dispatch world is something that we do very well. It's a proprietary thing. But it was digging even deeper into it and looking at what the actual technology is that's being used and what's out there for lone worker stuff. And, a wearable, not Bluetooth dependent, that was utilizing biometrics as kind of an automated alerting system was something that we didn't see. And 2 or 3 years of market research, we're still yet to come across something that is doing what it is that we're doing, and to the level and to the understanding that we currently have.
And I think that's cool. And I remember, again, as before we were able to kind of go this way and talk on the phone, I was telling him, when I heard about your story the first time, I was like, oh my God, this is cool. I all the people that are out there, all those kind of whatever lone wolves that are going to be there, that now will have something that will be safe. So why don't you kind of share how your device works?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are a LTE-M wearable. It's completely standalone unit. And essentially as a day-to-day function for vulnerable employees, we have what we call a automated biometric alerting system, where our wearable is able to learn from what we call a biometric fingerprint. It's able to learn who you are from a biometric perspective, so that if something does happen to you where your biometrics push you into a life-critical condition, position, or they tell a story about an event that has happened to you, you as the wearer do not need to respond or to have any sort of user input in order for people, your team leaders, your managers, your organization, employer, what have you, to understand that something's going wrong. And really it's just, it's the ability, as I just mentioned, to tell that story that's very important, especially when the individual who's wearing it, potentially can't do so if they're unconscious, incapacitated, or whatever.
So why is it important to have it on as an individual, and say not on your phone or not on your as an app? Why did you go down the route you did with a device like this?
So we are appealing a lot to a lot of these emerging lone worker segments, more of the less traditional side of things within the oil and gas and the heavy industry stuff. So a lot of these individuals, while going into this and talking with our potential clients and talking with the end users, there was a level of safety and security where if an individual was to get, let's say, kidnapped or was for whatever reason separated from their phone, the dongles and the SOS fob buttons that you traditionally see out there no longer work. And so we wanted to ensure that there was a few different levels of redundancy in there, so that, if you're anything from I don't know, running from a bear in the woods and you drop your phone, you're not going to turn around and get it, but your bracelet's still going to work. People are still going to know that something's going on. They'll be able to send help directly to you.
And what type? So I mean, you mentioned I guess that's what industries are you good for? You obviously like maybe a park ranger. Is that something like that is? I can see, security at night or things along. Is that the type of industries, or what industries am I missing?
Well, we are really seeing a lot of interest coming from the kind of high risk retail. So cannabis, liquor sales, as well as manned security. Security industry is they've been very, very responsive to this platform. But traditional heavy industry as well. I mean, there's no reason why construction workers, oil and gas workers, whatever, would not benefit from having this. In fact, anybody who is even slightly removed from their employer during their day-to-day, we have some really unique ways to connect all employees to their employers, and we have a way in the longer term to help organizations benefit from that level of connectivity, as well as our understanding of their health wellness from an organizational perspective.
So I want to kind of dive into the actual product a little bit. When obviously it's a wearable, it goes on your wrist. So if I'm out there and I'm working security or I'm a late night worker somewhere and I'm working solo, how does it work? How does it automatically notify me? What triggers it?
So when it's going to be the extremes of your biometrics based off the sensors and the understanding of those vital signs that we're pulling. So, for example, the wearable collecting the vital signs of something that happens to you for whatever reason, even if it scares you and pushes you into a level of heart rate or a level of blood oxygen level that it is outside of a normal range, is abnormal for you, or is life critical, then an alert will populate itself automatically, and it will notify people that, hey, we've just detected this. This is abnormal, and we believe that you should check in with this individual. So at that point in time, we are basically at the mercy of the organization's emergency response protocol. So they'll call the individual on the end of the bracelet wearing it. They'll say, hey, we just got this notification, and we want to make sure that you're okay. If there is no response from that, or if there is some sort of response saying, no, I'm not okay, I need help, our platform is able to temporarily share that user's location and vital sign information with emergency dispatchers and first responders with just a click of a button, so that they can then action an emergency response and get to that individual much, much quicker.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I mean, I love it. I had a question come in here saying, how long do the batteries in that last in these devices?
Yeah, so we are looking right now just over about a 12 to 16 hour battery life for our very first set of prototypes. But
okay.
As everybody knows within product development, things take stages, and we'll be getting quite a bit more battery life as we get moving on. So.
Nice. Yeah. Well, and again, right, as that technology, comes and goes, you'll be able to add it to yours and kind of, make your product better. So
absolutely.
Yeah, no, for sure. So when it comes to actually working with, a group of people on that, so do you go to a company like a Guardian or someone like that? A Guardian, or is it Guardia? I can't remember. like
security.
Yeah, exactly. So do you kind of go to them and say, hey, we've got 5,000 employees that are security people. Everybody gets their own watch, and you sell it to them as do you sell the watch, or do you sell the subscription, or do you partner with the police, the fire, the ambulance on that end?
Yeah. So with clients within the security world, and really with any of them, we are a SaaS model with a hardware purchase.
Okay.
We are an ongoing subscription per user. Very competitive pricing, of course. But we are looking at this stage right now for clients to partner with.
Okay.
It's amazing for a young startup to get in with an organization that has a direct need for the product. It's going to save some lives. It's going to save some pain. It's going to reduce their op costs and some inefficiencies that they're going through. But for us at this level of the startup to say, look, local start, national potential, let's do some pilots and some testing. We can even potentially, have some custom features or some custom draw for you at this point. I mean, that's a lot closer to a partnership than just a transactional contract, and it is exactly what we're doing with our early clients and our early adopters.
And obviously if you're moving forward with that's been kind of a successful model, and they're liking it.
Yeah, I mean, nothing is 100% successful, and a lot of clients that we've had conversations with, they don't want to be the guinea pig. They don't want to be the testing ground, which is 100% cool. We'll come back around, not a problem whatsoever. We'll see it in a year or so. But the organizations who are in need of protecting their people and they need a long-term solution, they are jumping on the opportunity to secure a pilot, and we have limited bandwidth for them. We tell that right off the bat, look, we love you to death. We want to do this, but it is first come, first serve for these pilots, because we only do have enough resources to execute, a handful of them over the next few months, and interest is paramount.
What do you mean? Startups have nothing but resources and cash at hand, don't they?
Well, I must be the only one then. But if that's the case, tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah. When I find one, I'll let you know.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'd love to know what they're doing.
Exactly. Me too.
Yeah.
Again, I'm talking with Brennan Lewis, the founder of my-eforce. You can go to their website, my-eforce.com. It's on the comment section. Click on it to find out more information. Let's talk about those resources. I mean, you've been lucky enough to get some funding here from Bryan and Jacques at Metiquity, and actually I'm having Jacques come on in a couple weeks, and I've had Bryan on, and I'm a big fan of theirs, and I imagine I'll see Bryan here actually, and he was on a panel at the Alberta Technology Symposium last week. So why don't you talk a little bit about that? What it's like to fundraise, how it was to kind of deal with Bryan and their team, and why do you think that they invested in you, or is it you, or is it my-eforce, or is it why do you think you got the capital from them?
Oh man, there's a lot of speculation that might happen within this answer, but working with Bryan and Jacques has been amazing. There is a term that is thrown around willy-nilly, and that's founder friendly. And it's something that I take very, very seriously. These guys from day one, they really did do what they say and say what they do. And when there is that level of transparency with a young startup, it makes the process a lot easier. I feel like we make things more difficult than what they need to be, because there's, from a first-time founder, it's kind of that Oliver Twist feeling, like I'm up with my hands open, please give me some more. But it doesn't need to be like that. It shouldn't be like that. I believe that with investors and clients and startups, everybody is equally lucky to have each other.
Yeah.
And if that is led with and that expectation is set, then this process can be very, very simple. And I mean, we learned the hard way of how to set expectations and to be upfront and to understand that, it's okay as a young founder and as a first-time founder to ask questions and to make sure that fit is there before you dig into the nuts and bolts of the company. And, you know, we had a lot of conversations with Bryan really before the thick of the pitching really happened, just about Metiquity and what they want and where they sit and, you know, why they invest where they invest and what their plans are. It just made it a lot simpler. I think this whole startup community could really benefit from having more of the Metiquities, you know, accessible.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I love their process. I love their due diligence. I love reading their reports if they ever do share it. I mean, we're in a few deals together. I mean, it's something that I'm huge fans of them, and of course what they do to help the ecosystem, right? I mean, they're not just a, you know, here's some money, go away. They're there for you. They're good people. They've been in this, you know, in that raising capital and distributing capital for a while. So I love hearing that answer. And I know there's always speculation when it comes to why, but I mean, I'm going to speculate a bit here, but I know they got to really believe in the founder as much as they do the business. So to get, you know, an investment from them, kudos to you. So that's awesome, and congrats.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been great. We do bi-weeklies with them, but I mean, there's text messages and emails that go through probably every second day. High level to granular. I mean, these guys cover a lot of bases from their experience from capital markets, financing, to all the way down to, you know, getting prospective clients to respond to you. You know, like,
yeah.
I've done the oil and gas sales. I've done the account management, the BD stuff, but I've never, and I was yet to try and sell a product that A, didn't exist, and B, you know, had really no legs to stand on yet. And it is an incredibly differing process. So, you know, learning how to take steps with potential clients and getting them excited about something that, I mean, I say doesn't exist. It non-commercialized, obviously, and not in the market yet, but you know, those guys are absolutely instrumental in the success that we've had with the clients that we've had this far.
I just love hearing that. I got goosies right now, like just you know, hearing stuff like that, right? It's a big, I mean, and it's the same reason I'm in the ecosystem, trying to help, trying to share your knowledge. You know, when you know, I almost exclusively invest through TNT, but when it comes to there, it's like, yeah, I'm here for you. I've been there. I've done that. You know, anytime, reach out, text messages, and you know, that's something that only makes our ecosystem stronger as well.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's next for you? Where does my-eforce go from here?
Well, up. It's the only way that we will go.
And there's no pun intended that I'm actually at the UP conference in Saskatoon, right? You didn't plan that, did you?
Oh, it was definitely planned, Jay. Definitely. So right now, actually, we're just opening up our second round of fundraising. Not entirely sure if you want to title that pre-seed 2, seed A. I'm not sure how everybody is you know, labeling the seed rounds these days, but we're into our second fundraise right now. We've got quite a bit of interest on this one, which is really fantastic.
Awesome.
This raise is going to help us execute these pilots, you know, get our MVP to completion. We're like 95% of the way there. I mean, we're talking a few weeks away from being deployable to execute on our pilots, and you know, we will reach that ever coveted revenue status within this fundraise before fall, hopefully.
Awesome.
I'm hopeful for it.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. We had I was asked last night by a founder saying, you know, what's the number one advice that you could give to somebody? And again, and it came from Scott again yesterday. And I talk about this all the time, saying, focus on getting to revenue, focus on that, get there, because that's what people want to see. That's what the next round of funders want to see. And I love that you're saying that right now. And I'm sure I'm going to have many more conversations about that over the next couple of days. But yeah, I mean, when you're focusing on, banging on those doors, opening up those doors, getting to that revenue that's a great thing to focus on.
And I agree. And obviously, revenue status and collecting that very first buck is the main KPI, I guess, for a startup. And it is exactly what needs to be worked towards. But there's, as you know, and as everybody else knows, there is literally mountains of work to get to that point. And that is truly the ultimate validation. But there's a lot along the way that does signal to the market, to clients, to investors, to stakeholders, to everybody that a company is on their way to getting revenue status. And I do believe that going after that is very important. But I also think that taking your time to just have a breather and make sure that what you're doing is aligned in the long term and is also going to scale. Collecting a buck based off of something that's not going to fly in the future is arguably not a great way to go. I mean, I can't off the top of my head think of any companies that would or have, I guess, done something along those lines. But it's important to build those relationships, build the product, build the clients and expectations out while you get there.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. I love it. And again, having that help, having the people that you've reached out to in the past, and whether it be myself and others, and then obviously with Bryan and Jacques and Metiquity, and anybody wants to learn more about Metiquity, their website is in the comment section. Just click on it. You can go there. You're raising funds. Bryan would probably love to hear from you. I just keep putting that out there, right? Any startup. But yeah, I love it. And I love them. I love what you're doing. But I'm not going to let you go just yet without answering my last question. And again, I love this question. I've been, I'm 200 and probably close to 20 episodes. I should probably count so I know the exact number. And I've always asked this, and I love it because I get so many different answers, and I thought I would have the same answer all the time, but it just doesn't roll that way. So, Brennan, if you had one piece of advice for a small business startup or entrepreneur, what would that be?
Oh man, it's such a tough question because there's literally a spectrum that flashes in front of my eyes of experiences and pieces of advice that I want to throw out there. Just it's a long game.
Yes.
There's this mantra of move fast, break things. Well, you can do that. You can do that once you've hit revenue, you've hit certain points, but as I mentioned, there's a mountain of work that goes into getting up to a point where you can move quickly, and understanding that things are going to take time and embracing that time to ensure that what you're doing along the way is right. It is ethical. It's moral. It can stand on its own 2 feet, and then it can run in the future. It is incredibly important. And I think that before starting anything, knowing that this is a long and resilient path that you're going to go on is going to allow you to deal with the ups and downs a little bit better along the way.
Love it. It is a long game, and if you treat it that way, you're probably better off. Yeah, you got to get your quick wins, your short wins, and do what you need to as an entrepreneur and as an early stage company, but keeping that long term and not sacrificing, whether it be your morals or your goals or your company values or anything along those, whatever is important to you as a person and as a human is extremely important.
I couldn't agree more. And one thing that I'm very proud of with this young company in my-eforce is that we identified what our values were very early in this process, and we've already pointed towards that list to make decisions. And I can't even tell you, and other founders out there, how important this is. It allows you to take the blinders off and to understand the reasoning behind why you're making certain decisions, especially the tough ones.
There's a lot of tough ones.
There's a lot of tough ones. Yeah.
There are a lot of ones you don't want to make. Oh man, Brandon, I know we had some technical difficulties and everybody gets to see you. Like, where is this picture being taken? Are you, it looks like you're in church. So
that is actually in a church, but I'm not in church. There's a big difference. So that was, I believe, on my 32nd birthday. I was on tour with a band called Colorado, and that was in a church that has been converted into a music venue in Hamilton.
Oh, cool. I love that. Hey, I know one thing is I'm pumped that live music is back. I've already gone to a show. I'm a big supporter of it. I know you are, and we could have probably just done the episode on that and not talked about my-eforce at all.
You know what? Next one, Jade, let's do it. I'm on.
Oh, no, I appreciate it. And again, if anybody wants to, find out more, please check on the my-eforce website. It's in the comments section. Metiquity is also there. Startup TNT, which is going to be next Thursday live at Platform in Calgary, Edmonton, and Saskatoon. So again, we have free drinks. We'll have some after parties. Come out, see some of the top 20 companies that are out there. I guess top 60 companies, around. And again, I mean, it's good that you don't have to come into our summit because you've got around and you're raising your next one, but we would have loved to have you there, Brandon. But again, I love the time that we get to spend together, and thank you for coming on and sharing your knowledge and stories with us today.
It's absolutely my pleasure, Jade. And you will see me out and about a little bit more here. So, we've kind of had this make moves, not noise mentality, but I think it's time to make some moves and some noise. So here we go.
I think so. And you know what? Maybe we'll add a live music aspect and to one of our after parties.
You let me know and I'll be there.
Oh, that sounds like a plan. All right.